Germany and Czech Republic have blamed Moscow for cyber attacks, with Germany summoning the Russian envoy on Friday over cyber espionage campaign last year. The 2023 attacks, in which several websites were knocked offline in an apparent response to Berlin's decision to send tanks to Ukraine, have been blamed on a hacker group named APT28, linked to Russian military intelligence. The attacks reportedly targeted Germany's governing Social Democrats, as well as logistics, defense, aerospace and IT sectors. Institutions in the Czech Republic have also been targeted as part of the alleged campaign since last year. Meanwhile, the British Foreign Ministry announced that UK, along with European Union, Germany and other allies, have strongly denounced cyber operations conducted by Russian intelligence services. And DD India's Trent Murray joins us live from Berlin. Trent, what details can you share about the alleged cyber attack by Russia, and what happens now in the matter?
Yeah, well, they are very serious allegations being made by the German government today, with Moscow squarely in the crosshairs of the alleged action here. According to the German government, German intelligence has revealed that a military unit as part of Russia's intelligence agency was behind this cyber attack, namely the one that took place quite specifically targeting the governing Social Democrat Party here in Germany. It is the party of Olaf Scholz. According to the government here, that cyber attack tried to gain access to emails of the SPD executive and to gain key information there. Now, we know Annalena Baerbock, the Foreign Minister of Germany, currently on a visit to Australia, has denounced what has taken place. She said, according to her briefing, she can unambiguously say that it was Moscow behind this, and we are now garnering some reaction to that statement. The European Union has said in the past hour that they are determined to make full use of the spectrum of measures available to prevent, deter and respond to Russia's malicious behaviour in cyberspace. As you say, similar statements also coming out of the UK. What we know more broadly here is that this is part of what many European officials have been warning about, which is the fact that there is sort of a hybrid operation taking place from Russia targeting NATO territory. It's a reminder that really the front line, if you will, of these types of conflicts doesn't necessarily need to be in Ukraine, but it can be in cyberspace, information warfare, even espionage, which Germany has accused Russia of also being behind. We've not had an official response yet from Moscow to all of this, but we do know in the past couple of hours their diplomatic representative in Berlin has been summoned to the German Foreign Ministry for what we presume to be a diplomatic dressing down.
Trent, thank you for those updates. Turning to Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russia has claimed its troops have captured some 547 square kilometers of territory in Ukraine this year. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu has said on Friday that Ukrainian forces were retreating all along the front line, and it is establishing observation posts on the Kuril Islands, a territory that Japan claims as its own.
Russian troops continue to break into the enemy's strongholds along the entire line of contact. The Ukrainian armed forces are trying to hold onto certain lines, but under our push, they are forced to abandon their positions and retreat. Since the beginning of this year, we have taken control of 547 square kilometers of that territory in the new regions of the country.
Meanwhile, UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron has promised over $3 billion annual military aid for Ukraine for as long as it takes, he says, as he met President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kiev. Cameron's trip comes days after Britain announced its largest ever military aid package for Ukraine. Russia has slammed comments made on Russia-Ukraine conflict by French President Emmanuel Macron and UK Foreign Minister David Cameron. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov termed Cameron's statement dangerous and a direct escalation of the conflict after UK Foreign Secretary said Ukraine could use British weapons against targets inside Russia. The Kremlin also described recent comments made by French President Macron about a possible French intervention in Ukraine as being part of a very dangerous trend. In the US, Donald Trump's hush money trial continues. Caroline Malone is in Washington, D.C., gives us more on this and other stories making headlines around the world. Caroline, what's the latest in the trial?
Well, former US President Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial is underway in a New York criminal court as the trial enters its 11th day. On Thursday, Trump's lawyer tried to portray a hush money payment as extortion. They've also questioned in court the former lawyer for adult film star Stormy Daniels, called Keith Davidson, for 6.5 hours. He was allegedly involved in a deal on Trump's hush money payment. Well, New York prosecutors have charged Trump with falsifying business records to cover up the hush money payment. Trump has pleaded not guilty, and he denies any such encounter took place.
They must have 20 different DAs and assistant DAs in that room over the last couple of days over nothing, over no crime. Everyone said there was no crime. Everything was legal. And they're doing this because it's for politics. They want to get Biden elected. That's the only reason.
Well, DD India's Ira Spitzer joins us now live from New York. So, Ira, what is happening at the trial today? And do we have any updates on whether Donald Trump himself will testify? So we're just waiting now to hear from Ira Spitzer. Well, we know that trial has entered its 11th day. There's been some controversy over a gag order on Donald Trump because he keeps speaking out about people involved in this court case in the courtroom. The judge has implemented that gag order and put fines against him and said he could even risk going to jail if he doesn't abide by those rules. But we have also heard in recent days from Trump, who said that he is concerned it means he also can't testify. Unusually in this kind of criminal case, Trump has said that he would want to testify in his own case, providing witness statements to the ongoing affair of these alleged hush money payments and these allegations of business fraud. So we're going to move on now and try and speak to Ira Spitzer. So Ira, what is happening in the trial today, and any more updates on whether Trump will actually testify in this case? Apologies, we can't seem to get to Ira, but we'll come back to him if we can. Moving on now. Arrests continue across US universities where student-led pro-Palestine protests have been happening. Police and protesters faced off at the University of California at Los Angeles after riot police dismantled a protest camp, which was attacked by counter-demonstrators. More than 200 protesters have been arrested so far at UCLA. At Portland State University, police officers in riot gear arrested dozens of protesters who tried to retake a library which had been serving as a protest encampment. Demonstrators also spread to the University of Washington in Seattle. The protesters are demanding that the university cut ties, divest with Israel. Several universities in New York, including Columbia, have called the police to contain on-campus protests and restore order. Well, breaking his silence on the campus protests, US President Joe Biden has said that demonstrators don't have a right to cause violence or chaos.
We are not an authoritarian nation where we silence people or squash dissent. The American people are heard. In fact, peaceful protest is in the best tradition of how Americans respond to consequential issues. Peaceful protest in America. Violent protest is not protected. Peaceful protest is. It's against the law when violence occurs. In America, we respect the right and protect the right for them to express that. but it doesn't mean anything goes. It needs to be done without violence, without destruction, without hate, and within the law.
Well, as pro-Palestinian campus protests continue in the US, in Germany, police removed pro-Palestinian demonstrators who were protesting outside Berlin's Humboldt University. Well, moving on to Middle Eastern tension there, Yemen's Houthi armed group have said they will target ships heading to Israeli ports in any reachable area. The Iran-aligned Houthi militants have launched repeated drone and missile strikes on ships in the crucial shipping channels of the Red Sea. This has forced ships to reroute, pushing cargo on longer and more expensive journeys around southern Africa. It's also stoked fear that the Israel-Hamas war could escalate and further destabilize the Middle East. Well, meanwhile, aid trucks were seen waiting on the road near the Kerem Shalom crossing on the southern Israeli border with Gaza on Friday, as Israeli tanks were also spotted nearby. Well, Turkey has said it will halt trade with Israel until a permanent ceasefire is secured in Gaza. The trade between the two countries is worth nearly $7 billion a year.
The trade halt against Israel, including import and export, will continue until a permanent ceasefire in Gaza, as well as unhindered humanitarian aid flow to the region, are secured.
A Hamas delegation is set to visit Egypt soon for further ceasefire talks with Israel. Well, earlier, the Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh discussed the ongoing ceasefire talks in separate phone calls with Egypt's intelligence chief and Qatar's prime minister. And top Israeli ministers also met on Thursday to discuss truce proposals and a possible move into a Rafah operation. Well, that's it from me here in Washington. Back to you in the studio, Shabendu.
Thanks, Caroline. Appreciate you joining us with those updates. And still to come on DT India Global. Heavy losses for Britain's governing Conservative Party in the UK local polls. Short break. Welcome back. You're watching DT India Global. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Britain's governing Conservative Party is suffering heavy losses as local election results pour in. It puts pressure on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak ahead of UK general elections. DT India's Ollie Barrett reports from London.
Well, there's no doubt these are a very, very difficult set of results indeed for the governing Conservative Party and its leader, Rishi Sunak. The Blackpool South by-election for the parliamentary seat saw a huge swing away from the Conservatives to the Labour Party. Labour leader Keir Starmer says that shows that the Prime Minister should call a general election and allow the country to, in his words, move on towards change. There's no sense that the Prime Minister has any intention of doing that in the imminent future. A lot of council seats, local authority seats across the country have swung towards Labour as well, in what the Labour Party will tell you shows that heading towards the general election, that it is the party that is on course to take back power in Westminster. The Conservatives will say that there are reasons to be optimistic. They will point to the mayoral race in Tees Valley, for example, which has been held onto by the incumbent mayor there, Ben Houchen. The Conservatives say that that shows that actually the party can continue to win votes in important parts of the country when we get to the general election. There are a number of disgruntled Conservative MPs, though, who would like to change their leader ahead of that next general election, whenever it ends up being, at some point this year. To do that, though, they would have to trigger a leadership campaign, and it's not clear at this point that that is going to happen. If it does happen, it would probably happen at some point next week. The Prime Minister will continue to try and hang on to the leadership of his party as much as possible. He believes that he can change the polling, he can gather some of the ground that's been lost to the opposition Labour Party ahead of the general election, focusing on issues to do with the economy and immigration. But these results in the local elections that we've seen Thursday into Friday here in the UK just show how difficult a task that will be for Rishi Sunak and his Conservative Party. Ollie Barrett in London reporting for DD India.
Elections in the UK to elections in India. Friday was the last date for filing nominations for the seats that will go to polls on May 20th in the fifth round of seven-phase general elections in India. Congress leader and Wayanad Member of Parliament Rahul Gandhi filed his nomination as party candidate from Uttar Pradesh's Raebareli seat. The seat vacated recently by his mother Sonia Gandhi when she moved to Rajya Sabha. Raebareli has been a traditional family stronghold. BJP's Dinesh Pratap Singh, pitted against Rahul Gandhi, also filed his nomination from Raebareli. Gandhi family loyalist Kishori Lal Sharma filed his nomination papers from Amethi, the seat that Rahul Gandhi had lost to Union Minister Smriti Irani in 2019. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting West Bengal and Jharkhand to garner support for the BJP. Addressing a public meeting in Bardhaman, Durgapur, West Bengal, Prime Minister said Congress's biggest leader will not dare to contest elections from Amethi for fear of losing and is seeking refuge in Raebareli.
मैंने कहा था इनकी सबसे बड़ी नेता चुनाव लड़ने की हिम्मत नहीं करेगी, वो डर के मारे भाग जाएगी और वो भाग करके राजस्थान गई और राजस्थान से राज्यसभा में आई और हुआ भी यही। मैंने पहले ही बता दिया था कि शाहजादे वायनाड में हारने वाले हैं और हार के डर से जैसे ही वायनाड में मतदान समाप्त होगा वो दूसरी सीट खोजने लग जाएंगे और अब दूसरी सीट पर भी उनके सारे चेले चपाटे कह रहे थे अमेठी आएंगे अमेठी आएंगे, लेकिन अमेठी से भी इतना डर गए, इतने डर गए, वहां से भागकर अब रायबरेली में खोज रहे हैं रास्ता। ये लोग गुम गुम कर सबको कहते हैं डरो मत, मैं भी आज उन्हें कहता हूं और बड़े जी भर के कहता हूं, अरे डरो मत, भागो मत।
With less than a week to go for the polls in Gujarat, political campaigning has picked up on the ground and on social media. Our correspondent Meghna Dev takes a tour of the BJP and Congress social media war rooms.
Your social media accounts might be carrying a lot of political content this election season. With political communication evolving from door-to-door campaigns to micro-targeting voters, new media has become an inseparable part of politics, political parties and campaigning.
While the star campaigners battle it out on the field through public meetings, rallies and massive road shows, there are warriors who are sitting behind the screens and fighting the election battle on social media in the virtual world.
Digital war rooms operate at party regional headquarters where professionals make reels, YouTube shorts, design graphics, memes and brainstorm content to post. Gujarat Congress spokesperson Hiren Bankar highlights how reels and shorts are getting more views. Not only that, a team of Special 26 is sending out targeted messages to the party workers so that they can propagate it to the voters.
जो आज लोग लाखों लोग कांग्रेस पक्ष को पूरी होप के साथ देख रहे हैं कि कांग्रेस पक्ष आएगी और हमारी बात करेगी, अन्याय काल खत्म होगा। तो एक स्ट्रेटेजी रूम में पूरी डिस्कशन होती है। उसके बाद हमने मीडिया रूम भी बनाया है, यहाँ पर कोऑर्डिनेशन का रूम बनाया है, कंट्रोल रूम बनाया है और आखिर में वॉर रूम बनाया है।
So I'm taking you inside and showing you how this entire system works. On the walls you can see where different zones and different regions have been projected. For example, if you see the north zone, it has Banaskantha, Patan, Mehsana, Sabarkantha, such districts, and also the assembly constituencies which people here are targeting and sending out messages. Obviously, data is of a lot of importance here when we are talking about targeted approach to reach out to the voters ahead of the polling date.
The BJP is also leaving no stone unturned. Manan Patel, who handles social media for the Gujarat BJP, highlights how people want to watch short videos. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi's videos brings them massive user engagement.
People want to see Modi ji. That's the universal truth. When we are creating reels about Modi ji's work, Modi ji's guarantee, Modi ji's sankalp, those things are going viral, and that's the thing that people want to see.
It's also about the hashtag war. Against BJP's Modi ki guarantee, Congress has come up with Nyay Patra for the polls. Over the years, political parties have managed to understand the viewer's mindset and hence have been able to mine data to improve online engagement and reach out to the voters.
Likes and retweets and views on social media are the parameters of how much support people are garnering all across ages and different platforms. With camera person Lakshman Rajput, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Ahmedabad.
Meanwhile, heatwave has disrupted life in Maharashtra, where 11 constituencies will go to the polls on 7th May in the third phase of India's parliamentary elections. Yogesh Sheetal reports.
Heatwave is not a new phenomenon for Marathwada, Konkan and Western Maharashtra. But what makes difference this time is the exceptionally high temperature in polling season. Surprisingly, insufferable heat doesn't seem to have impacted the political campaigns. Not only leaders and party workers, but also the voters, specifically the first-time voters, appear frenzy for polls and refuse to give up before the extreme heat waves. Meanwhile, local administration have gone the extra mile to ensure that they could beat the heat.
In Kolhapur district, we are having two parliamentary constituencies, 47 Kolhapur and 48 Hatkanangle. And in these two parliamentary constituency, in whole district, we are having 3,368 polling stations. Considering the situation of heat wave, we are providing at all polling stations cold drinking water to all the voters and polling parties. We will be providing medical kit, ORS at each polling station.
The IMD has also issued various directions to the people to protect themselves in the scorching heat.
Despite the heat, the campaigning is in full swing in all the 11 constituencies of Maharashtra, which is going to poll on 7th of May. But it remains to be seen whether the exceptionally high temperature make any impact on the voting pattern. With my colleague Kapil Maske, this is Yogesh Kumar Sheetal reporting from Maharashtra for DD India.
Let's now turn to other news making stories around the world. In a pilot project, Britain's green communication cabinets will be used as electric car charging points with an aim to encourage more people to buy and use EVs without worrying about charging. The trial will include an app offering a variety of options for users to choose from. 5 human skeletons without hands and feet have been discovered at Adolf Hitler's headquarters in present-day Poland. A group of Ledbra Foundation, who have been excavating at the site for several years, discovered the bodies of 3 adults, a baby and an older child. That's all for this edition of DD India Global. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. For those on the go, catch all the latest news and updates on our DD India mobile app. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Global. Namaskar.